welcome back to brilliantube. Thank you for being loyal with our show. Airline industry is the business of the transporting paying passenger and their friends via air long, regularly scheduled road.
Airlines operate aircraft to supply the service and could form partnership or alliance with other airlines for codeshare agreement. Airline companies are standardized with an air operating certificate or license issued by a governmental aviation body. Airlines differ in size from small domestic airlines to full-service international airlines.
Airline services can be categorized as being intercontinental, domestic, regional, and or international. For today's topic, we were gonna discuss about the determinant of capital structure of the airline industry. Today we have three guests special from the University Utara Malaysia, or we know as the UUM. First of all, the guest is Dr. Manina, Dr. Lily, and also Prof. Mastura. And three of them is currently a lecturer that is doing a research about the determinant of the capital structure of the airline industry. Okay, first, Mastura, I want to ask you, may I know why you choose airline industry for your group research?
Thank you, Miss Grace. We choose airline industry for our research because we found that airline industry is interesting because of its importance in economy and world globalization. It provides services everywhere in the world. The airline industry is highly energy intensive because of the large fuel consumption. The volatility in fuel prices add to the normal operational risk and that might influence the capital structure choices. The airline industry is capital intensive also because of the need for large investment in planes and other fixed assets. The management must choose from different financial sources when raising capital for their large investment. In this research, we will identify and address the determinant of capital structure in airline industry.
Regarding Prof. Mastura, all of you choose airline industry based on of the interesting, right? So before you do the research, do you know what kind of the characteristics that the airline industry have? Maybe take for example of kind of the airline industry should we have the characteristic. And Dr. Amanina, can you tell me what the characteristic of the airline industry that we need that you want to you need during you do the research?
Yeah, we need to know the characteristic of airline industry. It is easy for us to do the research after we know the characteristic of airline industry. One of the characteristics of airline industry is the nature. Airline industry can be divided into four categories, which is international, national, regional, and cargo. The international has more than 130 seat planes that are able to travel passengers to anywhere in the world. The second category is national. National airlines have seats from a range of 100 to 150 people, and their revenue reach between $100 million and $1 billion. The third category is regional. Here, the companies focus on short-haul flights and profit less than $100 million. The cargo category are airlines that generally transport goods. The rising types of plans of fashion in the carrier business are introduced in terms of its item offerings, income sources, and target clients.
So, Dr. Lily, is there any other characteristic of the airline industry other than nature?
Yeah, competition also is one of the characteristics. As we know, airline industry is an intensely competitive market.
Over the years, there are many airline companies that shut down and gone bankrupt. Due to the high competition, airlines took a decision to provide low-cost airlines. Other than competitive market, there are other threats to airline industry which are weather, fuel costs, and labor. Weather is very unpredictable. Extreme cases of heat, cold, fog, and snow can shut down the airports and cancel the flights. The second largest expense of an airline is the fuel cost, and the first largest expenses of the airline industry is the labor cost.
It's because they have to pay pilots, flight orders, client administration, and others.
Okay, thank you Dr. Amalina and also Dr. Lily for the explanation of the characteristic of the airline industry. We have another guest, which is Miss John, which is a finance manager from the Mars Airline. Miss John, what is the determinant of the capital structure of the airline industry that we need to know?
The determinants of capital structure that you need to know is ownership structure, debt rating and leasing. Ownership structure indicates whether a company is open or state-owned firm. There is a relationship between ownership concentration and capital structure. There are arguments that high ownership concentration like the government-owned firms has lower probability of financial distress and that therefore they get to borrow funds easily with cheaper premium. More concentrated ownership structure leads to higher firm profitability, where higher firm profitability requires a less diffused ownership. Debt rating is a system for measuring an organization's ability to pay back its debts and any interest on those debts. According to the pecking order theory, leverage and credit rating has a negative relationship, which means when a firm that has credit rating will use less debt and more equity. Airline industry's financial performance depends on companies keeping a reasonable level of leverage. For leasing, Financial Accounting Standards Board differentiates between two types of leases based on the lease terms. The first one is the operational lease. The entire lease payments are reported as operating expense but are not reported as asset or as liability in the balance sheet. The second one is the capital lease, listed as acquired asset and the future lease payments reported as liability on the balance sheet. The interest payments are deducted as an interest expense. As you can see, airlines industry are heavily relying on leases, especially operating lease. Airlines industry must depend heavily on fixed assets because their cost structure is different from other industry. It is reasonable for them to lease all those fixed assets because they cannot afford each of them, such as airports, terminals, aircrafts, and so on. Leasing helps to efficiently locate the capital goods and allow carriers to transfer some risk to the operating lessors. Leasing is more advantageous for the companies than other types of financing. Lessee make the minimum lease payment on yearly basis and can take full advantages of the assets on the leasing contract. Leasing also has disadvantage, which is leasing can make a company to give a fault report in their financial report.
Thank you, Ms. John, for your explanation. From your group, Dr. Lily, what is the determinant of the capital structure that you have found?
From our group research, determinant of capital structure that we found is firm size and tangibility of assets. Firm size is one of the main factors that taking into account in making decision of how the firms want to survive in capital structure. By the determinant and characteristic that difference between two size of firm actually able to show to us how much that the company able to fund and how they want to get the fund to finance their business. Size is positively correlated with leverage. It is became negative when any change be done by the law occur. Most studies use log of sales, total sales or average turnover as the measure for firm size. They compute firm size by the logarithm of sales and found a positive significant relationship between size and leverage. It is important to see whether firm size is in function of debt or equity and whether the hypothesis support the pecking order theory or the trade-off theory. Pecking order theory predicts a negative relationship between firm size and leverage because large firms are mostly more profitable and need more retained earnings. Tangible assets can be seen as the most secure assets that creditors can accept as security for the issued debt. Tangible assets are easiest to value and liquidate compared to, for example, intangibles, since there are less asymmetries in formation and more common revision standards for tangible assets. Tangible assets can be secured against the debt, the creditor have a higher probability to recover their debt payments.
Thank you, Dr. Lily, for the information. Okay, Prof. Mastura, what is the other determinant of capital structure that you think is important to know?
I think determinant of capital structure that very important to know is profitability and risk. Profitability is essential in many different theories and recognize determination of capital structure decision in firm. Trade-off theory and agency theories expect positive relationship between leverage and profitability. For high profitable firm, they might use high leverage to finance their operation. For example, American Airline, the world's most profitable airline, used that bridge in order to finance heavy capital investment and share repurchase. Pecking order theory implies a negative relationship between profitability and leverage. According to pecking theory, firms with high profit use low leverage. This may be because they don't want to adapt more risk to bankruptcy. Delta Airlines reduced their debt and used low financial leverage in their capital structure while remain as top earner in 2017-2016. For the determinant of risk, high uncertainty of future cash flow increase the profitability of financial distress and make potential tax saving from using debt less predictable. Trade-off theory and agency theory draw toward a negative relationship between the level of earning volatility and leverage. High earning volatility firms will use low leverage in their capital structure. The reputation of high volatile earning may induce lenders to demand an additional risk premium on them.
Thank you, Prof. Mastura. Based on your group analysis, Dr. Amalina, what is the other determinant of the capital structure that you know?
Based on our group analysis, other determinant of capital structure that I know is growth opportunities and energy intensity. The global airline market experienced good growth during the previous years ago. The factor driving growth is increasing demand from emerging economies, continuous demand for new low-cost carriers, deregulation, rising middle class, growth in international travel, and growth in tourism industry. Lucentels, which is a leading global management consulting and market research firm, has analyzed the global airline market and presents its findings in Global Airline Market 2030 to 2020, which is a trend, profits, and forecast analysis. The challenges for growth is government re-regulation, fluctuating oil prices, rising security concerns, and continuous growth in high-speed trains. As the study indicates, the European market growth is driven by development of air transport in Eastern Europe and intracontinental travel within the European Union. Asian growth is driven by rising per capita GDP in emerging economies. For energy intensity, high level of energy-related costs compared other costs may increase the probability of becoming insolvent. Hence, cost of debt will increase. Energy prices such as fuel prices have become more expensive and volatile in these recent years. This increases the importance of hedging and more fuel-efficient airplanes. Higher uncertainty of future fuel costs decrease the needs of disciplinary actions because the amount of retained earnings available for unprofitable investment is unknown. The high degree of fuel costs may increase company risk. Therefore, result in that debtors will demand an additional risk premiums when lending funds to the company.
That was a good explanation from Dr. Amalina. Conclusion that we can make is a capital structure is the part of the things that need to be acknowledged by the companies in terms of the airline industry that is do really need to do research about it.
Because by having a very structured capital structure, will help the company to improve themselves and know how to finance their companies. As airlines industry, one of the most important transportation in the world is really need in this industry as a monopoly industry to know well how to make a change and use the change to turn it into a valuable asset of the company to compete other airlines.
The finance manager and even the CEO of the airline industry should take note of the considering of the determinant of the capital structure to be used and have them to check their companies. Okay, thank you so much Dr. Amanina, Dr. Masro and Dr. Lily and Miss John for joining us today. So much the information that we today can get from our guests. I hope that from all the explanation of our guests can help us to understand about the determinant of the capital structure of the airline industry. That's all from today. That's all for today. We will see you guys next week with another interesting topic in the Brilliant Tube. See you again. Bye.